Good evening. Welcome to South Asia Newsline. I'm Uzma Jafri. Here are the top stories we are tracking for you on Friday, the 12th of March. Indian PM Modi inaugurates celebrations to mark 75 years of independence. Activist blames Islamabad treats Pakistan-administered Kashmir as its colony. And exiled Tibetans mark 62nd anniversary of women uprising against China. And now for all the details. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Friday launched curtain-raiser activities of Amrit Mahotsav, the government's initiative to mark 75 years of India's independence, 75 weeks ahead of the occasion in 2022. PM Modi also flagged off a 25-day-long march to commemorate 91 years of historic Dandi Salt March led by freedom struggle leader Mahatma Gandhi.
Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Friday inaugurated the Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, a Nectar of Freedom festival, a series of events to commemorate the 75 years of India's independence from the British rule in 2022 in his home state of Gujarat. As part of the government initiative, weekly events will be organized during the next 75 weeks till August 15 next year. Freedom struggle and ideas, achievements, actions and resolve at 75 have been decided as the 5 pillars to celebrate 75 years of independence.
आजादी के 75 साल का ये अवसर एक अमृत की तरह वर्तमान पीढ़ी को प्राप्त होगा। एक ऐसा अमृत जो हमें प्रतिपल देश के लिए जीने, देश के लिए कुछ करने के लिए प्रेरित करेगा।
Modi also flagged off a 25-day-long foot march to commemorate 91 years of the Dandi March, a salt march led by iconic freedom fighter Mahatma Gandhi in 1930, a non-violent protest against the British salt monopoly. 81 participants will cover a distance of 241 miles from Sabarmati Ashram in Ahmedabad to Dandi village in Gujarat to pay tribute to the historic march.
Moving on. Political activist Shaukat Ali Kashmiri has lambasted Islamabad for using Pakistan-administered Kashmir as its colony and exploiting its natural resources. He said Pakistan's claim of granting autonomy to the illegal occupied region is an absolute joke.
Exiled political activist Shaukat Ali Kashmiri has lambasted Islamabad for using Pakistan-administered Kashmir as its colony for over 7 decades and exploiting its natural resources. Shaukat Ali Kashmiri, chairman of UKPNP, the United Kashmir People's National Party, said that Pakistan continues to plunder the natural resources through so-called developmental projects, and the illegally occupied region is not even granted a small share of dividends which are generated from them. He also highlighted Pakistan falsely claims to have granted autonomy to the region, but even the Prime Minister and President of Pakistan-administered Kashmir have no say in the policy making and are only there to execute orders of Islamabad-installed Lent officers.
Water resources are used, but we are completely ignored in any kind of royalty in this Nelam and Jhelum hydro projects. So Azad Kashmir is a colony simply. And all those officials who are installed in Azad Kashmir, they are playing in the hands of GOC Murray and they are serving Pakistan's sovereign interest. They are not serving the people of Azad Jammu and Kashmir's interest.
The activist blamed that the establishment uses draconian legislation to frame or suppress dissenting voices in Pakistan-administered Kashmir. He said with no legal recourse available, an assertive international intervention is the only way the hapless people can be saved from imminent doom.
In news from Afghanistan, A decision to ban girls over the age of 12 from reading poems or singing at public events sparked anger in Afghanistan this week, with literary figures and campaigners saying it marked a backward step on educational rights. The Education Ministry's directive comes as the government negotiates a power-sharing deal with the Taliban.
A decision by the Afghan Ministry of Education to ban girls 12 years old and up from singing at public events has been met with a strong backlash from rights groups, literary figures and campaigners. The ban would apply to all government and private schools. The Education Ministry's directive comes as the government negotiates a power-sharing deal with the Taliban. And critics said the order recalled rules imposed by the hardline Islamist group during its 1990s rule when it banned girls from school. The country's Independent Human Rights Commission rejected the government's explanation, however, saying the freedom to express artistic skills was a fundamental right of all children. Taking to Twitter, author and poet Shafika Kapalwak, one of the country's most renowned female writers, said, "Don't kill the girls' voices, it is a sin." Women's rights have improved dramatically in Afghanistan since the Taliban was ousted in 2001, with billions of dollars poured into the country since then to help create a more open and equal society. The Taliban says it has changed and will let girls be educated, but fears remain that women's rights will deteriorate if the group regains influence.
In Afghanistan's Helmand province, known for growing poppy, increasing insurgency and a hotbed for the Taliban outfit, women have opened a library to promote the culture of studying and book reading.
Infamous for growing poppy and increasing insurgency, the restive Helmand province in Afghanistan has been regarded as a hotbed for the Taliban outfit. Amid ongoing militancy and conflicts in the poppy cultivation in Helmand, a group of women are defying norms. They run a library in the provincial capital Lashkar Gah to promote the culture of studying and book reading. Director of the library, Humeera Navrozi, was of the opinion that the patriarchal culture of Afghan society encouraged polygamy and violence against women, and this motivated her to do something for them and stand up for their own rights.
چیزی که واقعا باعث شد که من روی تصمیم مسلط باشم یا مصمم باشم و 100% بخوام یک کتابخانه را ایجاد کنم همون دو زن بود و واقعا اون روز من احساس کردم که ما ضرورت داریم به یک جامعه فهمیده، جامعه که زنایش حقوقشان رو بشناسن، جایگاه خود بفهمن.
Established and run by women 2 months ago, the library is the first of its kind in the region. To attract more customers and more clients, Navrozi and her colleagues also opened Kitab Cafe next to the library to serve coffee, tea and variety of local dishes.
میشه که ما آغاز کردیم چندین بخش فعالیت میکنیم در بخش گل فروشی، قرطاسی خیاطی، آرایشگاه، استودیوی عکاسی و کافه کتاب مثلا فیشن فروشی ما فعالیت میکنیم که حدود 10-11 نفر ما کارمند داریم.
Navrozi believes that ignorance and illiteracy are the reason for women's miseries in Afghanistan, and therefore it is essential to promote literacy and knowledge among them.
In news from Nepal, the Nepali Congress, which has 63 seats in the 275-member House of Representatives, can lead the new government in Nepal, but reports suggest the party has decided to watch the moves of the caretaker Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli and his ally parties on government formation and decide on further course.
The Nepali Congress, which has 63 seats in the 275-member House of Representatives, can lead the new government in Nepal. But the party has decided to watch the moves of caretaker Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli and his ally parties including Janta Samajwadi Party and the CPN-MC on government formation. According to local media reports, Congress President Sher Bahadur Deuba has personally deployed his close aides to hold talks with Oli, Samajwadi Party and the Maoist Centre. If the Nepali Congress aims to form the next government in Nepal, it would need the support of both the CPN-MC and the Janta Samajwadi Party. This comes as the Supreme Court last week scrapped the May 2018 merger between CPN-UML and CPN-MC as the unified party had chosen a name, Nepal Communist Party, that already belonged to another party registered with the Election Commission.
Moving on to news from Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka has invited Myanmar's military foreign minister Wunna Maung Luin to a multi-sectoral BIMSTEC meeting at the end of March. Secretary to Sri Lanka's Foreign Ministry Gianath Colombage has confirmed, but denied that the gesture endorsed the country's military coup. The Sri Lankan official said Myanmar's incumbent foreign minister had been invited because the country was a member nation of BIMSTEC and had not been removed or suspended. Protests Sri Lanka began trending among coup opponents on Twitter in Myanmar after the news emerged. Myanmar's army seized power in a coup on February 1, and nationwide mass protests since then have been met with deadly force, with at least 70 people killed, reports suggest. The protesters have called on nations across the world to reject the military and deal with the civilian committee set up by ousted lawmakers. Marking the 62nd anniversary of the women's failed revolt against Chinese rule in Tibet, hundreds of exiled Tibetan women took out to rally in India's northern hill town of Dharamshala on Friday. On this day in 1959, Tibetan women risked their lives and poured in the streets of Lhasa city and staged a peaceful resistance against the brutal Chinese forces, staging a forceful occupation of Tibet.
Hundreds of exiled Tibetan women took out a rally in India's northern hill town of Dharamsala on Friday, marking the 62nd anniversary of the women's failed revolt against Chinese rule in Tibet. On this day in 1959, Tibetan women risked their lives and poured in the streets of Lhasa city and staged a peaceful resistance against the brutal Chinese forces, staging a forceful occupation of Tibet. Every year, the anniversary is commemorated by widespread protest across the globe, especially in Dharamsala.
And the younger generation, we think that it's now or never for us. And despite the pandemic, we have gathered here because we don't have the luxury to stay at home in the secure of our four walls, while our brothers and sisters in Tibet are suffering under Chinese occupation.
So the main theme is to say that we have not forgotten those women who gave their lives, and then also our motivation is to struggle for freedom of Tibet.
Hundreds were killed as the Chinese government stamped the rebellion. The Tibetans rose against Chinese control, and the failed uprising forced Tibetan spiritual leader the Dalai Lama to flee into exile in India.
The 17th edition of famous Shumang Leela festival is being held in India's northeastern Manipur state. The festival is an attempt to familiarize the younger generation with the traditions, history and art form of the region and its tribes.
Folk artists in India's eastern Manipur state, dressed in colourful traditional tribal costumes, staged plays during the 17th Shumang Leela festival on Thursday. The festival is an attempt to familiarize the younger generation with the traditions, history and art form of the region and its tribes. Shumang Leela is a traditional form of theatre in Manipur state in northeastern India. It is generally an open-air theatre.
ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏꯗꯤ ꯍꯥꯏꯅꯤꯡꯉꯥꯏ ꯂꯩꯇꯅ ꯊꯤꯅ ꯅꯨꯡꯉꯥꯏ ꯍꯥꯏꯗꯤ ꯌꯨꯝꯗ ꯂꯩꯔꯝꯕꯒꯤ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏꯅ ꯃꯃꯥꯡꯗꯁꯨ ꯄꯥꯡꯊꯣꯛꯀꯗ꯭ꯔꯥ ꯍꯥꯏꯔꯒ ꯄꯥꯡꯊꯣꯛꯈꯤꯗ꯭ꯔꯦꯀꯣ ꯍꯟꯗꯛ ꯁꯨꯃꯥꯏꯅ ꯇꯧꯕꯤꯔꯛꯄꯁꯦ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏ ꯀꯥꯎꯟꯁꯤꯜꯅ ꯁꯤꯟꯕꯤꯗꯨꯅ ꯍꯥꯏꯗꯤ ꯁꯤꯟꯖꯤ ꯂꯥꯡꯖꯗꯨꯅ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏꯒꯤ ꯄꯔꯐꯣꯔꯃꯦꯟꯁꯁꯦ ꯈꯤꯇꯪ ꯑꯣꯏꯅ ꯄꯨꯊꯣꯛꯍꯟꯕ ꯍꯥꯏꯗꯤ ꯎꯠꯊꯣꯛꯄ ꯉꯝꯕꯒꯤ ꯆꯥꯟꯁ ꯄꯤꯕꯁꯦ ꯑꯗꯨꯛꯀꯤ ꯃꯇꯤꯛ ꯍꯥꯏꯅꯤꯡꯉꯥই ꯂꯩꯇꯅ ꯊꯥꯒꯠꯆꯔꯤ.
The festival began on March 7th and will continue till 23rd. Traditionally, all roles are performed by male actors in Shumang Leela, some dressed as beautiful ladies. However, with time, women have also started to participate in the plays.
Well, that's all we have for you from South Asia this evening. Now our viewers can watch the show on southasianewsline.com. You can also visit us on facebook.com/SAsiaNewsline and follow us on Twitter @SAsiaNewsline. That's all in tonight's edition. We will see you same time next week. Have a great weekend. Good night.